And we're live.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
I guess I should put my hand here. There we go. Hi.
I know. I can keep remembering where,
I can never
remind
keep
myself
up
where
with
the.
where my hands are with
Oh,
anything. I was just telling Heather it's been a very frustrating day. Frustrating last couple of days at work.
yeah.
And then today I get a text this afternoon saying, "We're sorry you canceled your order, a custom birthday cake for Friday that I did not cancel." So I've been back and forth with
You
Walmart
people owe
trying to
me a free cake.
You know what though? Friday retrograde is over with.
Yes.
So
And
we
it's your
won't have to deal
birthday.
with
Well,
this
there you go.
nonsense
There's a nice
anymore.
birthday gift to you. That
We'll
grade is
not have
over
to
with.
deal with this nonsense anymore. I
Oh,
was like,
goodness.
don't tell me that just before I go on air. What's wrong with you?
Now I want cake. Mmm.
And I ordered my favorite kind. I like the white cake with the buttercream frosting.
Mmm.
And
Buttercream is the best.
oh yeah, with the roses on top and all the borders, and it's like once a year I go all out and I order one with all the bells and whistles on it.
Whistles on it. Yep.
And that's, half of it winds up going to work where I'm like, okay, y'all help yourself. But because I could never eat the whole thing, just
Who's our favorite coworker? Shari.
yeah.
Shari.
Well, especially during Mardi Gras, because we all take turns doing it, bringing king cakes. By the time Mardi Gras is over with, everybody is so sick of looking at king cakes. It's not even funny, because everyone and their brother brings one because
Oh.
it's,
Now I'm
it's
assuming Kane is a supermarket. A
huh?
king cake. King
The
cakes.
king cakes you can get them anywhere down here.
So
When I
that's a
lived in Phoenix,
supermarket.
I have a favorite place that I get mine from that I like the way theirs taste. And when I lived in Phoenix, I would special order a cake, a king cake, which is almost like a big donut cinnamon roll type thing. It's all twisted. It's like a big
Oh, I didn't
circle,
know that. I've
and
never
it's got
seen
all
one of
this
those.
different. It's
Oh,
got
it's like a
purple,
bun
green, and
cake.
gold frosting. No, no, no. It's
Oh, okay.
it's more like it's more like looks like a giant pretzel almost, but it's not a pretzel. It's a cake.
Ooh,
It's
that sounds
it's
so
kind of a
good.
cross between a cake and a donut. It's very, and
Oh.
it's they inject the inside with filling of just about any kind of filling you want to put in it, and then
Mm.
on the outside there's icing, and some places do the sugar crystals on top of it, in the three Mardi Gras colors, which is gold and purple and green, which has to do with the Catholic Church. Purple being royalty, green. I don't remember
Ooh.
now what all the colors mean. I'm sure there's
Yeah.
somebody in the audience who
Yeah.
was brought up a Catholic could probably tell
I
me.
was, and I'm like, I just remember the purple candles for Advent, and then
Right. Well, with the king cake, it's because uh, Mardi Gras is the day before Ash Wednesday,
yeah.
which kicks off Lent season. And so it's called Fat Tuesday. And it's when everybody goes out, parties, they eat until they can't eat anymore, they drink until they're passed out cold.
Oh, jeez.
For those that drink, and it's just a fun time. I mean, Mardi Gras starts about 2 weeks before Mardi Gras, it's
Yeah.
because there's all kinds of balls and special events, there's
Sounds like
parades.
fun.
They have like a fair that comes to town where they have all the rides. Then you have like the Queen's Parade, the King's Parade, the Children's Parade, the this and that and the other parade, and there's the court, which they each Mardi Gras crew, which is CREWE, which is another French thing. They have king, queens, pages. Uh,
Just
uh,
like your tarot. It's a yeah,
is
tarot
very
ball.
similar to the tarot. Yes, very much so. Very much so. And the king cake was I don't originally know what the purpose was for the cake, but you get a little like plastic baby Jesus when you order your cake. Now they used to put it in there themselves, but they can get sued if they do that now and somebody chokes on it. So
Okay.
they give you the little plastic baby on the side, and then you get to put it in the king cake. And the tradition is whoever gets the baby Jesus, because that's what the baby stands for, whoever gets the baby Jesus has to provide the next king cake. And so that's kind of how it gets passed around, you know, and
Wow. I learned something
depending
new today.
on, I mean, you have New Orleans Mardi Gras, which is a beast in and of itself, and it's so unrelated to what real Mardi Gras is. It's not even
Yeah.
funny. Um, we
Oh,
have
here we
our
go.
Mardi Gras here in Lafayette is considered one of the most
Here we go.
one
Thank
of
you,
the
Laura.
safest Mardi Gras to go to in Lafayette, where I'm at. We have a really great Mardi Gras here. And then you have in your further outlying areas, the more rural areas, you have what's called a boucherie, which is where all the neighbors will like ride their horses from house to house to house and get like a pig or a chicken or a duck or a this or a that or the other. And then everybody gets together at the end of the day, and all the food that they've caught at everybody's house
Yeah.
gets cooked. And it's a big party. Everybody eats and drinks and carries on, and that's part of the boucherie, which is it's all wrapped up
No.
in Cajun tradition and the Catholic Church and how it's all done. And then
Yeah.
Wednesday morning, everybody's all hung over and sitting in mass trying to get forgiven for whatever they did the day before.
Oh,
So,
jeez.
which is funny because
Oh,
now they
your
have
get out of
mass
jail
on.
card.
You can go to mass now on Saturday afternoon,
Yeah.
so that you've cleared your soul before you go out partying Saturday night, and you don't have to get up at the crack of dawn Sunday morning when you're all hungover.
Yeah.
I mean,
That was my then.
they still have mass on Sundays, but now you can go Saturday afternoons
Hmm.
as well if you want.
That's how I grew up. Yeah. My dad
Yeah.
wanted his Sundays because that was basically his only, the weekend was the only day off that he had. And he already had to get up in the morning, especially during the rough months, if he had to, because he had to go and lock the doors at the church he was a janitor at. And then during the winter, he would have to get out and shovel and stuff. So he had us all go 5 o'clock mass, on Saturdays, and you know, have all Sunday all to ourselves. So, but here, Laura gave us the color
There we go. See, I knew there was a
representations.
reason for the different colors, but
They
I couldn't
called
remember what they
power,
were.
power, lovely.
Yeah, it's all tied up with the symbolism of the French from France, the
Yeah, the
French
French
court.
Creole.
And because, well, no, Creole is different than Cajun. Never call a Creole a Cajun or a Cajun or a Creole. You could get shot.
Okay.
Just don't do it. Cajun people originated from Nova Scotia in Canada. Is where they came from. That's where the tale of Evangeline, the poem, the Evangeline, um, it's like a love story type of Romeo Juliet type thing. Um, but it's this long, I want to say Longfellow wrote it. My mind's gone. Um,
Yeah.
but
Must have been gone
the
for a long
Cajun
time.
people come from Nova Scotia.
Mhm.
They were the ones that escaped France during all of the hullabaloo with the revolution and all that,
Gotcha.
because they weren't allowed to practice their religion their way. And so they left France, they went to Holland, where again they were chased off for their religious beliefs. And they wound up in, excuse me, in Nova Scotia, in Canada. And again, they were chased off for their very devout Catholic beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And they came down the Mississippi River and they landed in the swamps of Louisiana and declared, okay, this is it. This is ours.
We can't go any further.
We're taking it. And then the Creole people are more like in the New Orleans area and some of the northern Louisiana parishes. And it's more of a mix of the Native American tribes of the area and the French
Mm-hmm.
and the African American. It's where the term mulatto comes from, which is a very derogatory term now, but at the time was considered a means of identifying someone as to what race or class they were.
Yeah.
Because it was not only depicted a race, it depicted a class. In other words, you were pretty low on the totem pole.
Yeah.
um, because the whites wouldn't accept you because you weren't white enough, and the blacks wouldn't accept you because you weren't black enough,
Yeah.
and
It's funny how
nobody
that
in
still goes
between
on
wanted you
today.
either. So, and you get that all over.
Yeah.
But down here in the South, it's especially when you start relating it to, and this is going to tie into what we're talking about tonight.
Mm-hmm.
When you start going into the plantations and all of that, you had a lot of plantation owners'
Mm-hmm.
sons who either took the African American women as mistresses, forced them to be their mistresses,
Yeah.
or just went and
Those,
took
yeah.
his buddies and tied one on a Saturday night down in the slave quarters.
Yeah.
And, God forbid, whoever they caught and found. And so you had a lot of mixed breed kids that came along. And depending on how dark or light they were, would depend on if they would get accepted by the plantation owner's family
Yeah.
and brought into the house.
And they had a better,
They had a
you know,
better life. They were usually house slaves, which
yeah.
was a fair step up from a field slave.
Mm-hmm.
Because the field slave, you're out in those fields. That's some hard ass work. I've done it. I
Yeah.
picked cotton one summer. I will never do it again. But let me tell you, that's the hardest damn job I've ever
It was
done in my
brutal.
life.
Yeah.
And it's brutal. The leaves are like razor sharp, and they will slice your hands to bits. And
I didn't know that.
oh
Wow.
yeah, that's why with the invention of the cotton gin that would go through and pick the cotton for you
Mm-hmm.
was such a great relief for so many people because, and of course it was a black man that developed it because I'm sure he was tired of getting his hands cut up in the field as well. Um,
Well, we got a lot of
so
people. I just want to stop
I
you.
see that. Yeah, we got more
We
people
got
in
people
there.
coming on in. We got Janet P. We got
Joan,
Laura.
Viviani, Amy,
Amy's here.
and
Viviani.
Janet, and Teresa.
Joan B. Thank you, ladies, for joining us.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Yeah, for I this is something I've been wanting to do because there's so many shows with wellness and wellness is
All of my
important.
printouts I
Politics.
did today because
Oh my goodness! Because I've got
it's like I
my
know
little
the
bone
basic.
right here.
Yeah, it's like I know the basic history of Myrtles Plantation,
Yep.
but I didn't know any
So
of the details or
yep, I
any of the
wanted to do
facts
something.
of it. So I wanted to like look at the facts of it
Yes.
to kind of understand where
Mm-hmm.
where it all kind of fit together and maybe why um, some of these urban legends formed from it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of very popular ghost legends of Myrtles that there's no proof
Yeah.
that that person ever even existed.
But
The
the
most
proof
popular
there
is
was a
Chloe.
ghost that did show up, a Chloe. Yep, and that's the
Yeah, and
one picture I
they're
put
like
in their banner.
they've never been able to find any historical reference to a Chloe.
But
Now
that
it was
spirit's
probably
there
just
though.
a house slave
Mm-hmm.
who was the master's mistress or whatever. Um, the story went that uh, she would listen in the doors when he would have
And
his
just so.
meetings
So
with
this is
his.
whoops. Where did it go? I was just going to show a picture of the
Yeah,
plantation while you
I
were
didn't print
talking.
out any. I don't think I printed any pictures.
So
That's
this
the
is the front
house.
of Myrtle's plantation
Yeah,
that we're
that's the
talking
house.
about.
Just a little facts about it. It was originally built in 1796.
Mm-hmm.
That's how old this house is, and it was refurbished and added on to after the Civil War in the late 1800s, and it went through a lot of hands,
Mm-hmm.
especially after the Civil War, because the rich families, most of them got wiped out
Yeah,
because
because of the war.
they
And it
not
was
only got
actually
their
built by
plantations taken away from them, they lost their slave labor and couldn't afford to pay anybody to work the fields if they did manage to hang on to their land. But most of their money was tied up in Confederate money, which was worthless after the
yeah.
Civil War. Kind of like what's happening with Bitcoin. You
Oh
never
yeah,
know
I heard
day to
that's
day
tanking.
if it's going to be worth anything tomorrow. Um,
Yeah, it
but
was built by General David Bradford, and I found out something today that he was actually under house arrest for 3 years
Yeah,
after he built that.
for the Whiskey Rebellion, and I
Hmm.
vaguely remembered hearing about that. And he was an outlaw until which president was it? And I just read it, and now it's gone from
Adams. Adams
Adams.
pardoned him.
Thank you, President Adams
Hmm.
forgave him, and it's a 125-foot long veranda. That's the big porch that goes across the front. That's my favorite thing about Southern homes is the huge. It's like if I ever had the money to build my own house, it would have a wraparound porch with doors out of every room leading onto the porch. That's always been my dream house. I'll never own it, but that's been my dream house. They have a French chandelier in the entrance made out of baccarat crystal that weighs over 300 pounds.
I believe it.
Now imagine that sucker falling on someone. You talk about not just kill them, but you'd smush them good.
Now here in the picture, Shari, I want to ask you a question. If I could get this map to, oh goodness,
Yeah, it's hard.
with the
Let's see,
white
maybe
on
if you
white,
tilt
because
it,
it's showing you now. Where are you exactly?
tilt it this way or that way. No, go back up the other direction. Go back with the top hat.
There
Up,
we go.
up,
That's a
up,
little
up.
better.
Wait.
Whoop.
You just went down, but you almost had it there. Okay, now.
I don't have a laptop, folks. So I'm sorry.
Yeah,
about
I
that,
know.
but, so where are you now?
I
compared to
am.
the
I don't know if you can see
plantation?
where my finger is. I'm like roughly right around this area here. If you're looking at a map, look for the Atchafalaya swamp. It's Atchafalaya, ACTH. Fuck, I don't remember how to spell it. It's Atchafalaya, and it's ATCHAFALAYA. I don't know. It's like a bunch of letters in there. It's the largest land-based
Atchafalaya swamp. Oh, there we go.
Atchafalaya. There you go.
They
It
understood
is
me.
the largest land-based swamp in the continental U.S. That's what is between Lafayette, where I'm at, and Baton Rouge, which is the state capital. And it's an 18-mile bridge to get across it, which just goes to show you how big this swamp is.
Yep, there's
and
the
it goes
picture.
all the way to the Gulf of Mexico.
So there's a
And
little
then it
bit
goes
of the
all the
swamp
way
there.
up.
Yep,
Yep.
there's the big long bridge.
Yep. It's
They're not
and
giving
God
you the
forbid
map.
you're on that bridge and there's a wreck because there ain't nowhere to go. You are stuck like Chuck until they get it cleared. I've seen people stuck on that bridge for half a day or a day or longer.
Oh wow, some of
They
these
can't
pictures
get
are
off.
so beautiful, though, Shari. I mean,
Oh, I know. I
their
mean,
backyard. Look at
when
that. I'd be
they,
afraid of the alligators, though, and the crocs, to be honest, and the snakes.
yeah, I'm more scared of snakes than I am alligators. Alligators are, you kind of see them coming. You can maybe get out of the way.
Yeah, snakes
and
not so much.
most alligators really don't want to mess with you unless they're really, really, really hungry. If you have like small children, like toddlers or babies,
Oh, like that.
or if you have
in
small cats or dogs, and you're somewhere where there's a possibility of alligators, now they will come up out of the water and snatch that dog or that cat, or snatch that child. I've seen them snatch 2-year-olds, and that child's gone. I mean, it's like,
well,
because they
remember what
snatch
happened
them.
in Disney in Florida a couple of years ago or so?
Mhm.
That poor child. Parents turn their back at night. Who does that? Especially when the sign says right there, beware of,
Alligators. But you don't think about it. Even as a parent, you cannot possibly keep your eyes on your kids every split second. And all it takes is 5 seconds to look away at something, or to have something get your attention, or somebody make a noise, or somebody holler, "Hey, what are you doing?" To look away and look back, and that kid's gone. It happens in the supermarkets, happens in the shopping malls, happens near the swamps, except there it's more reptile criminals and not two-legged criminals that are stealing your kid. We have a swamp on campus where I work. We have our own man-made swamp with alligators and all. Now they have special fences built up around it, but those alligators have been known to crawl over the fence. And it's not unusual to come out of a class walking down the sidewalk to your next class, and there's an alligator trucking down the sidewalk with you. You know, and most of the staff and faculty are used to it. They'll just be like,
Yeah.
okay, somebody go call facilities, tell them to get over here.
Go wrangle that alligator.
Yeah, and they have special guys that will come wrangle the alligator and put it back in the swamp. I had one crawl out on me years ago when I was a student at the same university, and they have like benches set out around the swamp where you can sit and just enjoy the ambiance of being in the swamp, even though there's a big fence between you and the water. And I had like my book bag and my purse and all that stuff sitting on the bench next to me. And an alligator had crawled up and out of the water, and I didn't notice it.
And you wrangled that purse, didn't you?
I was reading a book until I saw my purse move, and I thought somebody was trying to just jack my purse. And I looked up, and it was a freaking alligator who had grabbed a strap that was hanging off the end of the bench. And I grabbed the purse, and it grabbed the strap, and we had a tug of war for a good couple of minutes before the strap broke, and it took off and went back in the swamp, perfectly happy it got a leather strap. And I was so pissed because it was a new purse, and it's like, now I got to tell my husband I got to replace mine.
I was going to say, he wanted his cousin back.
I'm telling you, it wasn't an alligator purse.
Alligator purse.
It was cowhide, so they would eat the cow.
Really quick, hello, Deb H, Purple Elephant.
Hi,
MK Karen, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
I brought Shari on for the Myrtles Plantation for my first Urban Legends video segment.
And we're talking about alligators.
She lives right down in the heart of all that area. No, I love how that you can give us, a picture that you don't get usually on when you watch the videos, because they focus solely on. So here you're giving us an idea, a background of what life was like in there and how it could lead to rumors or speculation. And one of the things I wanted to check with you, that I was watching a video before I came on with you about this.
See if it'll show up on mine.
It said that the guy who built it, Bradford, knew about the Native American burial ground that he was building it on, and he didn't care. He actually had the bones and the bodies dug up.
You might be able to see this. Let me go back this way. There, can y'all see that? Is that seeable?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's where I work. That's the swamp. That's the swamp called Cypress Lake. Our student union is right next to it, and they have like a brick wall that goes around, and you can go sit out and watch the turtles and the gators and the snakes and whatever else is in there. Let's see. Here's another. You can see the brick wall. Mm-hmm. I was there at lunchtime, and I just went.
I would love to set up an easel and just paint there one afternoon.
We get a lot of artists that do that. A lot of artists that do that. Let's see. Here's another. See, I was going to post all these on my channel, and I've been like lazy because I took a couple of videos too, do all this. Like little 10-second videos. Mm-hmm. And let's see.
Now, do you know if that was a rumor that was true about the plantation about Bradford?
I'm not sure. Here's one of our live oaks.
Oh, that's beautiful.
95% of the oaks on our campus are in the Historical Society, the Arbors Historical Society. Mm-hmm. They are hundreds and hundreds of years old. The oldest tree, let's see, and I'm going to post all of these on my channel, y'all. I just haven't gotten around it.
That's amazing.
I mean, these trees are just, they're beyond beautiful. Anyway, get back to what I was saying. So, we have that ambiance there at work. I mean, it was cool going to school there because I had, you kind of had all of that while you were doing your thing, going to class and everything. It was nice to be able to sit out by it. And they've really made it a lot nicer now than it was back when I went to school there. Our student union is like 6 or 7 years old now. They tore down the old one and built a whole new one. It's really, really
Okay, well,
nice
now
with
were
a
you greatly
big.
affected by Katrina? Your
I
school?
wasn't living here at the time when Katrina
Okay,
came through. I was in Phoenix at the time.
Phoenix. Wow.
Um, I almost lost one of my nephews to Pseudomonas and sepsis
Oh, jeez.
from the cleanup of Katrina in Mississippi, um, cleaning up his property afterwards.
Yeah. I
And
mean, I saw the pictures. I was in Arizona too. I was up in Flagstaff when
yeah,
that
I was
happened.
down in Phoenix. So, but yeah, I mean, I had friends and family that had a lot of damage. Now, Katrina was more east of Lafayette
Okay.
than it was here. If you go back to Andrew, which was a Cat 5, that
Yeah.
was back in the, I want to say the late 80s, early 90s. When Andrew came through, it literally came up the Atchafalaya swamp. It like
Wow.
it found the opening to the swamp in the
And
Gulf
just went.
and just went ship right up this.
Jeez.
When they finally opened the bridge up so you could cross it,
Mm-hmm.
when you looked around, all those beautiful old cypress trees and everything that are there,
All gone.
everything looked like a bomb had exploded. Everything was laid flat. It was the wildest looking thing I'd ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
The only other time I ever saw anything more heartbreaking was when Hurricane Camille hit the Mississippi Gulf Coast back in 1969. And I'm really telling my age now. We had just moved to Fort Walton Beach, Florida, like 3 weeks before Camille hit.
Yeah.
And back then, Interstate 10 wasn't built through that part of Mississippi and Florida. You had to cut down to the old Highway 98, which was the coast road, and drive up the coast. And when we went through Mississippi, it was all of these gorgeous old plantation homes that lined the beach road. It was like all of these homes, and then you had the road, and then you had the beach and the water,
Yeah.
you know. And afterwards, after Camille went through, I would say probably 80% of the houses were just gone. There was
Mm.
nothing but a foundation left. There were
I
uh,
sometimes wonder if that was
there
part
were
of
shrimping
nature's way.
boats that were way out in the Gulf that were sitting in people's front yards.
Mm-hmm.
They got blown in. Um, you would see in a hurricane, especially one with really high winds, one of the things people talk about is seeing the pine needles that are stuck in trees.
Yeah.
And they're like, how does the pine needles,
Huh.
get in a tree? I had a meteorologist explain that to me once because I asked about it. He said the vibration from the wind makes the tree vibrate at such a high level that it opens up the fibers in the tree, which lets the pine needles fly through, and then it'll close back up.
Oh
And that's
wow.
how they get stuck in there. I was like, that is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
I,
That's
I
amazing.
never knew that that's what or how it happened. I just, you know, it was a friend of ours who was the local weatherman. And they were talking about Andrew, which had just come through. And I said something about, well, it must have been really strong winds to make pine needles go through trees. And he's like, no, that's not how it works. And I'm like, well, what do you mean that's not how it works? And he's the one that explained it to me. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I never knew that.
I'm just why when people say that Louisiana and the South from like Georgia down are like one of the most haunted areas in the country is because of all the hurricanes and the bad weather, and not just with
All of the
the
deaths
war, but how people don't realize
you
what kind of
have.
devastation that creates,
Oh yeah, it's
and how many lives it takes
hurricanes
compared to
last
Katrina.
year, last summer. The hurricanes that came through here.
Hmm.
What was it? Laura and Delta that came through here. I had family personally affected by that. It hit Lake Charles. Lake Charles is still like a ghost town. There's still half the things aren't back yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Takes a long time
um,
to rebuild.
it takes a long time to rebuild. One of my cousins, he he had moved back home to take care of his mother before she died, And when she died, his sister was like, "No, I don't want to live there." So he lives there.
Hmm.
He had a tree in the middle of the living room after Laura. And then his sister, she and her
I couldn't
husband
live
lived
like
across
that.
town in Lake Charles. They lived in a really nice manufactured home that was all set up, you know, hurricane tie downs, the whole bit. It was gone.
Yeah.
They left because they knew how strong the storm could be. Thank God they left and went to a shelter further north. And when they came back, there wasn't nothing there. They
Yeah,
lost
I couldn't live
everything.
like with that on my mind. Every year, am I going to lose my home again? Am I going to have to rebuild? Is each one going to come through? I mean, people must really love their home there
They
to
do. They do. And
just kind of be like, this is our home and we're not leaving no matter what.
as
Well, it's
backwards as the South can be, especially in so many socially acceptable ways, as prejudiced and bigoted as they can still be down here, and that's on both sides of the coin. I don't care what color you are, you're going to hit bigotry
hmm
from either
yeah.
end. I've seen it firsthand. Um, I mean, I have a whole arm of the family that I've never known because they were clan members and very, very bigoted.
Wow.
And my
Yeah.
mother would not let us have anything to do with them. Nothing. She was considered the
Good
black sheep of
lady.
the family because she was
Yeah.
very progressive and very liberal, very into equal rights, civil rights, all that kind of stuff. And there's a whole slew of family that I don't even know because she refused to associate with them and she refused to let us get to know them, me and my brother. She was like, "No, you don't need to know people like that, you know."
We got Deb Z in the house. Whoop whoop.
Oh, hey, Dibsy. And I see
And Wendy
Wendy
popped in too.
and who else popped? Purple Elephant Deb's here.
Yep. So
Cool.
we got both the Debs. And in
Yeah.
case you guys are wondering, we're just getting a background of Louisiana because we are reading on Myrtle's Plantation with all the stories about, the hauntings and the murders and the famous
And
photographs of who
it's
they think might be Chloe or just, another,
yeah, and it's not just there that's
unfortunate play.
haunted. I mean,
The whole
you can
area.
go
Yeah.
into just about any older building in any area down here,
Mm-hmm.
and if it's the right time, the right night, the right vibe going on, I mean, I've lived in places down here that, just little things happen and you just kind of look at it out of the corner of your eye and go, "Okay,
Yeah.
not now. I can't deal with it," and just do your thing. Or
Yeah, there's a
usually
lot.
I'll just look at them and say, "Look, I don't want to have to deal with you right now.
I've seen videos
Later."
on YouTube where they do investigations, and there's some buildings they are preserving. They're like black X's that are in what were formerly slave quarters,
Mhm.
and there people say, "Oh, we're not just we're figuring it's just kind of like graffiti and stuff." But when some people were like, "No, back then a lot of those X's were attempts for slaves to curse their their
Yeah.
owners."
One of the
And
features of the
but
Myrtle
a lot of them don't want to
Plantation,
talk about it.
yeah. Oh, yeah. It's it's still a touchy subject around here,
I believe it. Yep.
And a lot of it is because it is. It's the way my daddy was, my granddaddy was, my great granddaddy. That kind of mentality. It's hard to get people to kind of progress when they're stuck in that mentality.
Yeah.
Um, One of the architectural uh, specialties of Myrtle's plantation
Hmm.
are all of the handmade, hand painted stained glass windows that are in
Mm.
it, and they all
Yeah.
have the French cross to guard away from evil from entering the house
Yeah.
on all of these stained glass windows and stuff, um, as well as worked into the scroll work and you
Hmm.
see a lot of that all over down here. You know,
Yeah.
um, I know I had when I lived in Phoenix and I'd come back for a vacation, and I went around town taking pictures and videos of things that I grew up with and never thought twice about looking at. until I moved to Phoenix and I had friends, coworkers saying, well, bring some pictures back. I want to see what that looks like. So I went in one of the oldest graveyards that we have here
Mm-hmm.
and went and walked around and took pictures. And everybody was like, why are all the graves in concrete sitting on top of the ground? Why aren't they in the ground? I said, because if you dig 6 inches, you hit water.
Yep.
I said, and anytime you have a storm come in, the coffins will pop right up,
Yep.
you know?
Just like
Um,
Poltergeist, that movie where all those coffins were popping up and bodies,
yeah,
that was what was
that's what it
happening,
is
and they
down
had
here.
to
So
refer to
now,
the.
I mean, they bury people in the ground, but they have to make a special, like, concrete vault that gets sunk into the ground that they put the coffin in. Otherwise, every time you'd have a hard rain, you'd have coffins popping up all over the place. And that happened after Katrina in Mississippi. You had one of the graveyards that was close to the beach. When they went back like a couple of days later to start clearing out, it was like a row of coffins on the beach that had popped up from the graveyard, and floated over. My father-in-law and his first wife are buried there. Um, Fortunately, they didn't pop up and move; they stayed put. But still, and a lot of what was in those coffins was not anymore.
Yeah.
So that all washed out to sea. It was just a pine box left to stick back in the ground, and you didn't know what coffin went in what grave.
Yeah.
If there was nothing inside to be able to verify who the person was,
Who the person had been.
And
Um,
yeah,
Scrolling through the Wikipedia, I just saw something that popped up that I didn't hear before. It said in 2002, Unsolved Mysteries filmed a segment about the alleged hauntings at the Plantation.
yep,
According to host Robert Stack, if anybody remembers that show or him, the
yep.
production crew experienced technical difficulties during the production of the segment. The Myrtles was also featured on a 2005 episode of Ghost Hunters, as well as Ghost Adventures, and that's where I first learned most about was through the
I
Ghost
think Ghost
Adventures.
Brothers also did an episode here.
Yes. Oh, I love the Ghost Brothers. Oh my God,
They're my
they are
favorites.
absolutely
I absolutely enjoy them.
hysterical.
They're so much fun. They did an
They are.
episode down here on that too. So,
Yeah, I would love to
and
meet them.
something that's really kind of new. I mean, I've only been back in Louisiana for 10, 11 years now. Um,
Mhm.
so I'm trying to readjust my thinking. Living in Phoenix, I got used to seeing celebrities.
Pictures, just throwing
Yeah,
up some pictures while you're
there you
talking. A
go.
ghost picture, and then I'll
Yeah.
bring up the infamous Chloe one.
Um, but living in Phoenix, you got used to seeing celebrities in the grocery store, at the gas station, in the car
Oh,
next to you on the road, because you have a lot of celebrities that lived in Phoenix or Scottsdale or the area around there because it was cheaper than living in LA. And although it's not cheap to live in Phoenix. Well, this area, Baton
well,
Rouge, Lafayette, and all this area has become like a new hotspot for
see,
Hollywood.
see if
Yeah.
I can get this to.
That's the picture where you can't really see it,
Yeah, because it's all white. It's being whited out. But if
but
I go
right in between where they got that
with
circle, you
that
can see
red
that dark
circle,
figure right in there.
that's a
Um,
picture of an actual spirit.
that's a
Yeah,
picture of they think it was
a
a
slave
slave
girl
girl.
wearing her.
They've
Um,
had experts, photography experts,
Look at that.
that have taken that picture and
Yep,
broke it down in every way possible. And it's like
it's
the
legit.
shadowing is right, the dimensions of the head, the shoulders, the arms, the
Hmm.
body, everything matches perfectly to it being a human being.
Yeah, it was supposed to be. I think they were selling on real. They were doing it for real estate or
It
something, and
was
they needed to
for
go around
insurance.
and take
It was
pictures.
insurance company
Insurance.
required them to take pictures in case of fire or anything like that. They
And
could
they're like,
see
"Who is
because some
this?"
of the buildings aren't attached. Like back then, the kitchen was not attached to the main house. The kitchen was its own separate little house. You know,
Let me.
one, it kept the heat out of the house, and two, the main house didn't have to worry about burning down every time somebody fucked up in the kitchen. And
Hmm.
got the fire pit too hot or something. Um,
Especially if a lot of those houses were wood too, they would go up like
oh yeah, go up
tinderbox.
that quick. And So yeah, um, slave quarters were. I mean, most dog houses today are in better condition than slave quarters were back then.
Yep.
It was truly really bad. How bad
So in
because
your
they
research, were you
didn't
able?
consider black people or anybody else they had as slaves, um, mulattoes, Native Americans, African Americans, whatever mix that they got there. They
Mhm.
didn't look upon them as being human beings.
Nope.
They thought and looked at them as animals,
Mhm.
and therefore they were treated like animals, you know, um, which is really horrifying when you stop and think about it today. I mean, just to have that kind of mindset that just because somebody is a different race than you, they're not human, they're
Your
just an
property.
animal,
And
and we just treat them like an animal. I mean,
now,
and most
according
of
to,
those people treated their animals better than they treated their slaves. I mean, that's just the way it was. As bad and as wrong as that is,
Mhm.
that's just the way it was. And that's still a lot of that mentality,
Mhm.
even though not to that degree, but there's still little lingering bits of it
Mhm.
in the overall way people approach one another in the South. And that's all over the South. I don't care what state you're in.
Now it
You're
says
gonna
here, Sherry, it is often reported that 10 murders occurred in the house. Now, being a local, do you know if that is
there's only
fact?
been one murder that's ever been proven to have
Okay.
been in the house. And that was one of the owners who was actually teaching Sunday school to kids at his
Mm-hmm.
house. And
Okay.
some guy rode up on a horse outside, hollering at him, come see. And he got
Yes.
up and went out on the porch, and the guy shot him.
And is this the one that
And
died on the 17th step?
that's the one that died on the 17th step on the main stairwell.
Okay.
And that goes up to the main bedroom.
Because people say they can still hear walking,
Yeah,
and it always stops at the 17th step.
yeah.
And when they, I know, like Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, when they go and they film on that area or they put their recordings, you can actually hear footsteps,
The
and they always
footsteps.
do stop at the 17th, or they hear, or
And you usually hit
the EMF will
almost
go
like a
off
wall
too.
of cold
Mm-hmm.
on that stair. It's like you hit that step and you can feel the cold, the temperature, everything changes right there.
Yeah.
Um, there have been people that have claimed that they got to that point and couldn't go any further. It was like something was preventing them from taking the next step.
Yeah. And they've
I
also got
mean,
a woman's crying on the
I've
next.
lived in enough haunted places to I've all since I was a little girl, I've always known, yeah, there are ghosts. I see them all the time. You know, um,
So, in
we
your
lived in
research, did you find anything interesting that you wanted to throw cards on?
just about anything. I mean, it would be interesting. Let me grab my cards. That's
For me,
how like last
for me,
minute
I
this
like to
was.
like throw on to see if Chloe was an
I
actual
would, yeah,
that was her
I would
name.
like to pull and see if Chloe was an actual person. It may not have been her name.
Hmm.
There's a real
It's
good
a
chance
beautiful
that it
name, though.
was. Yeah, um, there's a real good chance that there
And if
was.
anybody in chat has a question that
Yeah,
they think would be
sure.
good to
Hit
ask
us
the
up.
cards, just like in when Heather and I do our other ones, throw those questions up. Let's rock it.
For
See
sure.
what we get.
Um, let's see. I
I also
grabbed
have
my
my
rainbow
pendulum nearby
tarot.
too.
I grabbed my rainbow tarot deck.
Ooh.
Tarot at the end of the rainbow.
Yep.
Um,
And
Mark
happy Pride
from
Month too for
Mark from
everybody.
Spirit Whisperer was
Yeah.
using them, but it's full of animals and fairies and trolls and pan and all kinds of mystical fantasy type stuff. And
Yeah, growing up, I always misunderstood Pan. I was afraid of the energy and connecting because of Catholic upbringing and the image of Pan. And since I started watching Mark, I'm more comfortable and relaxed in
with the discussion
just
of it,
just
yeah.
speaking, yes, just
I
speaking
grew
that
up
to them every
Catholic
now and
too.
then.
I mean, I grew up Catholic as well. Um, uh, when I was in high school, my two best friends, one was a devout Catholic, one was Jewish. Friday nights, we all three went to the Jewish temple, and did our thing there. Sunday morning, we would all three go to mass. And so I figured I'm getting a well-rounded education in it, because my mother was not a religious woman, not religious. She had her own spirituality, she had her own beliefs, and she kept them very much to herself. She didn't impose her beliefs on me or my brother.
Yeah.
She was like, figure it out. If it feels right to you, then
Hey, Ron.
you're not hurting anybody, then go for it. And hi, Sharon. Sharon Sykes here.
Sharon Sype is here. Ron's here.
We're safe. Ron's here. Hey, Ron. I'm going to be on with Ron Saturday night.
Ooh,
So,
that'll be fun.
He emailed me the other day, and Sheila Angelfeather emailed me, wanted me to come on her show. We haven't found
nice.
a date yet that works for both of us. So,
I know my list of people wanting to invite on my channel, it just keeps growing and growing, because the community keeps growing and growing. It's just amazing how many.
Exactly.
Okay. Chloe. Are you that girl in the picture? Who are you?
Yeah, part of the story behind Chloe was
I figured I'd let you go ahead.
She was listening in to the master. For whatever reason, she would go listen to his business when he was doing his thing, and she got caught, and they cut off her ears.
Well, they made another slave cut off her ears.
Yeah, whatever.
And it was awful.
They cut off her ears, and she had to start wearing a turban, because then they wouldn't allow her to be within their sight because she didn't have ears. It's like, well, you cut off her damn ears, what do you expect? So supposedly, according to one of the myths about it, there's several stories around that. One was she was angry and wanted revenge. And she would take the oleander leaves from the oleander plant, which are highly poisonous, and she boiled it down to make a syrup, and she put it in a cake for the family to eat. Now, some say she did it just to kill them off. Yeah. Because she was
just to make them sick. Yeah.
Others say that she did it to make them sick, and then she could come in and make them better, and take care of them and heal them and bring her back up in her status of house slave. If she existed, nobody knows. That's another question we can ask. What was her main goal for that?
Well, and the rumor has it that it was either she hung herself, or they found out about her and hung her.
The other slaves hung her. They found out what happened.
Look what I got. Looking hanging from the tree.
Yeah.
The cross, the blood, and then I got the mice. So I think for me, because I asked if she was real. Well, if Chloe was, along with the picture, and that's what I got. There was a hanging. She was pretty much sacrificed to prevent. I think from one of the
I pulled two major
impressions was to keep the slave owners from going after them. Was that they made made sure that she she paid the price. And then I got the three mice.
Well, according to the legends, the other slaves found out what she did, and they're the ones that hunted her down, hung her till she died. Then they weighed her down with rocks and threw her in the Mississippi. So she never had a proper burial or anything, if she really existed. Now, what I pulled, first thing I pulled was the Five of Swords.
Okay. Yeah.
And that right there, that's selfishness. That's a hollow victory, because she didn't attain what she was looking to attain. And then from there, let me see, I pulled some major arcana here. I pulled 2 major arcana here.
Oh my god, my
Oh,
coffin
wow.
card just jumped out.
What was that? Put that up again.
My coffin card just jumped out.
Oh, wow.
I had the child card. I don't think she meant to hurt if this were a true story, and I feel like the cards were, here's the children, but I don't feel she meant to hurt the children because I got the love card. I know she cared about the children. So one of the other parts of the story was that she didn't mean for the kids to get into the cake.
Right. Yeah.
And then the moon revealing the truth.
Yeah, I pulled Justice was my second card.
Yeah.
And if you notice, I don't know if you can see it real good, the crown goes down over the eyes.
Oh,
so that
and
the
kind of like the
justice is
ears
blind,
too. Yeah.
You know? And then I pulled the lovers. Which maybe that reinforces the myth that she and the master were fooling around in the background, you know. They say that she baked the cake for one of the girls' birthdays, and that they think that she just didn't understand the strength of the poison of the oleander leaves, and she put too much, that she only meant to put enough to make them sick, not to kill them. And but it was the wife and 2 of the children were the only ones that ate the cake, and they died like within 24 hours. And you got to think that's got to be a pretty damn hard way to go when you think about it. I mean,
especially if she did care about the kids. Just,
let's see what I got here.
Just looking here. Questions.
See, yeah, the next I pulled another one just to clarify, and I got the Knight of Pentacles, which telling you to act with caution, establish a trust. According to rumors, she was trying to reestablish her trust with the family.
Yeah.
Or she was trying to get revenge.
That was the key. That was the key to her plan. That's what she had wanted to do to prove herself, to be successful, to be welcomed back. And instead she was a snake. I got the snake card facing the sun. The venom.
When I pulled the Tower.
Yep.
And that right there, upheaval, destruction, violent change. Yeah, that's pretty violent when you poison 2 people. And poison
got cut down.
I mean, there's a lot of ways to die, but poison's a pretty bad one,
Hard. Yeah. It was presented as a gift, and it ended up, And I got the hang tree again at the bottom, along with the coffin again.
That's it. I want to see. Because this is a newer deck for me, I'm still learning what some of the meanings on these are a little bit different than. Yeah, and then I pulled the 5 of Wands, and you got a goblin here who's fighting a group of rainbow winged sprites. You see the sprites in the foreground and above them, and it says victory, great honor, but oh no, that's the wrong one. It says
that might have been what she was trying to do.
She was wanting to feel the victory, but instead she got conflict and confrontation. Her own people took her out for what she did, because people don't understand, why would her own people turn against her? Well, because of the fact that they were slaves and were not thought of as human beings. If one did something wrong, they all got punished for it.
They all got punished. That was the premise when I was watching some of the
videos. They would all get punished for it, and when you're talking killing 3 of the master's family, don't nobody want to get punished for that if they didn't do it or didn't have any part in it.
They had to move forward quickly. They knew what they had to do. The Ace of Pentacles, they took that opportunity. What steps do you take next? They knew we have to take care of ourselves. The Moon card, I love the 6. It helps give you extra words on it. So the deception and everything. So they did that to
in the shadows with that.
Needs closure. They had to end it. They had to close it up right then and there. So, and then on the bottom, I got the King of Pentacles. So, and what's interesting, wow, this one here, his ears are covered. That's interesting. All the way. But yeah, they had to do that. They had to prove to their master that for them to be spared, that they took it into their own hands. And they had to, what's that word, appease him. I mean, he just lost his whole family.
What I want to know is, and that's kind of what I'm getting ready to pull for here, is if the myths are true, if this young woman existed, did she realize the strength of the poison that she was using? Or was it simply a miscalculation on her?
When you asked that, look what just jumped right out of my deck. The Fool. She had no idea.
Yep.
She just went ahead and said, "Oh, I'll just do this," and it was just a spontaneous idea. She didn't think anything would, severe come out of it. She was the Fool. They backfired on her. Well, just as you said that, when you said that's the question you're going to ask, and that's the card that flipped as I was shuffling. Okay, Heather, thanks for stopping by. Ooh, barbecue. I'm going to have one at my sister's this
Where's
Sunday.
ours?
We're having ribs this weekend. Nom, nom, nom.
Well, I got my little freebie meal thing that I get from my Points account, because I do the things to get points, and then every year on my birthday I cash in for a card, and I go to Outback and I get my steak dinner.
Ooh.
With my shrimp. And I got a single serve bottle of champagne. It's been in the fridge for about a month now. That's gonna go with it.
I like the
and I gotta order a damn cake since they canceled my order.
Yes. They're like, no cake for you.
Okay, let's see. I pulled the Queen of Pentacles, which is uses her bark to fashion a chair is what she's doing. And her hair is the bark.
Yep, and I got the Empress.
And you pulled the Empress. Okay. See, we're showing female empowerment here. And then I had the
and he came up again. I got the King of Pentacles. So it goes along with your Queen of Pentacles too.
Yeah. And
yeah. She was going
we got the 6 of Wands. And here you've got what is that? It's a fox, and a sprite is riding a fox through the forest.
That's a cute little deck. I like that. I love the pictures.
I love this deck. Mark was using it on his channel. He had just found it and was using it one day, and it's like the more he pulled from it, I was like, I've got to have that deck. And I don't know, my brother said something and left. So
yeah, my King of Pentacles, that was her trying to make favor with the owner, that she got angered.
Yeah, she was aiming for that restoration, that be trustworthy again. You can trust me. See, I can take care of you. I can make all of you well again when you get sick. I really think that's the feeling I get. Even when I was reading on it this afternoon, just to refresh my memory on everything, it was like that was the strongest feeling I kept getting, was her main goal was wanting to restore their faith in her. And then I pulled the 4 of Cups, which is a child. Okay, I thought it was some kind of a creature. Who knew? Boredom, contemplation, taking a break. I don't know. I think she was just so emotionally involved.
I got the 4 too, but I got the Swords of Rest. And then she accidentally ended up killing the children.
on a
She wanted to
permanent
get back
rest.
to control. She
Yeah. So here you
wanted
had.
control. Yep.
Eventually, I'll get this damn camera figured out. I'll quit trying to show things off camera.
Well, at least you can show things on camera without, the complete glare.
Well, it's evening time now. The sun, I mean, it's been raining off and on all afternoon. We've got
Oh yeah, we've
storms.
been having thunderstorms left and right
Yeah,
all
we
day.
us
Yep.
too, and there's a possible hurricane brewing out in the Gulf. So who knows what'll happen?
And once again,
I may be spending my birthday battening down the hatches for all I know.
oh my
Um,
goodness. Remember,
it was down
everybody in
around.
chat, if you want to toss in a question that you want Shari and I to check either with our pendulum
Yeah.
or with our
I mean,
cards.
if you have
Actually, my
questions
pendulum.
about, yes, no, yeah, I've got my pendulum.
I'm gonna see if Chloe was her name, if that was the correct.
I finally got this deck bendable enough I can actually.
Interesting. I asked if her name
shuffle.
was Chloe, and I got no.
Let me see what I get.
Because I asked the pendulum if the woman in the picture in the story, did she accidentally murder her slave owner's family? And I got yes. And I said, was her name Chloe? And then I got no. So I'll be interested to see what you got.
Let's see here.
Hi, Kala Lily. Hello, Arlene. Thank you for
Hey, y'all. Okay. Was it an accident? Yep, it sure was. That was a yes. Okay. Was her name Chloe? Was her name Chloe? Wow, that sucker just went the opposite direction. Nope, that wasn't her name.
So I wonder how they got the name Chloe. That's
It
interesting.
may have just been a common name back in the day. You had a lot of your slaves that their parents may have called them one name, the master would call them another.
Yeah.
Most just like from earlier folks, a lot of last names derived from what they did. People with the last name was Smith usually came from somebody that was a smither, that worked with iron and that kind of stuff, or tailor, because they were the ones that fixed the clothes or made the clothes. They were the tailors, so that
Now,
became their
one of the
last
claims in Wikipedia was that Bradford went ahead and built the plantation, even though there was a burial ground underneath it. And the claim was he had the bodies dug up, burned, and disposed of. And I'm just wondering if that was a myth or if that was actually true.
Yeah. I don't know, but I have heard probably 75% of the stuff built in this state is on top of a burial ground
Oh yeah, all
or
of them
sacred
are.
grounds. I mean, because we have several different Native American tribes from around here, depending on if you're down here in the swamp area or if you're up further north,
The one that was that would have been on his land was the Tunica Indian burial ground.
Yep.
And they're thinking that it might have been, the land itself had been cursed, and I wouldn't blame them.
Another of the really strong myths, and this is a practice that is still done down here to this day by a lot of folks, is when someone dies, they cover all the mirrors
Yes.
in the house. Because if the mirror is left uncovered, it can capture the spirits, and then the spirits are stuck there. is how the saying goes. Now, how accurate
Oh
that
yeah, I've
is,
heard
I
that.
don't know. But they say that that's where you get a lot of, faces in the mirror that almost looks
Oh,
like double exposure or something.
that's something I want to read on. Thank you for bringing up the mirrors, because they have pictures of where people say that they clean the mirrors, and then you see the fingerprints or the handprints of the children
Yeah.
that were supposedly, that were murdered by Chloe, or the young woman. I don't know what else called her but Chloe. And then other people say, well, no, that's just, old glass because of, the wear and tear on the tarnish.
Some of
The
those,
tarnish.
and I've heard of it in other places that it happens, where they have taken the mirrors to professional people to have them re-silvered, where they go in and they remove the backing and they what they call re-silvering them, that makes them a mirror, and it comes right back
Comes right back.
because it's got nothing to do with that. And I mean, I've seen and heard it happen on brand new.
Sometimes people think certain pictures that they take are pareidolia.
I saw that
But I've
Mama
seen
Bear. He bought he bought a house, and it wound up being a plantation of where his ancestors came from.
Really? I didn't hear about that.
There's a
Wow.
video on YouTube. You can watch it. That's where I saw it. I think was it a show? Who was it that just put that up there?
That was Mama Bear. That was
Mama
Serena.
Bear. Was it a TV show, Mama Bear, or was it just a video on YouTube about it?
Are the children's
I saw the video on YouTube about it, and I thought, how unique is that? That you go buy this beautiful home only to discover your ancestors were slaves there,
someone thinks it was a like a documentary. Then Teresa suggested it might have been 60 Minutes.
Okay.
I mean, I can see that making headline news.
Yeah. Yeah. 60 Minutes, or what some of the others that are, I think 60 Minutes is the only one that's still on. There used to be like 4 or 5 of those type of shows that came on during the week at, in the evening time. I used to watch them because I always thought it was so interesting. It was a way sometimes to get backstories on things happening without having to.
So I asked if those were
between
the kids' real hands on there, and I got the Ace of Cups. So yeah, and there's the right there too in the Ace of Cups. So it's like Spirit Rising. So you can't even more perfect than that. I have an answer. And then I got the full reverse, was immature, foolishness, playing around. Those are the kids. And then what's weird is I got the Eight of Pentacles reversed. Negative aspects of perfection. There we go. Repetitive activity. Yeah, the hands keep showing up. So yes, it is the kids. It's true. It's real. Awesome. Oh, this is a blast. I love reading on this stuff. Sarah!
I've always been intrigued with it. And
Sarah went to Myrtles. So tell us, Sarah.
Oh, you've actually, I've never been there. There's a smaller plantation that's only about 15, 20 minutes from where I live, that people can like rent out for weddings and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's another one that's down closer to the coastline, that same thing, you can rent out for events, conferences, weddings, that kind of thing.
Sarah says it's
all
beautiful.
over out here. A lot of people enjoy that.
Sarah, did you have any paranormal experiences when you were at Myrtles? Or just any? I know she says it was beautiful.
Oh yeah, there's nothing like those old plantation homes. They are gorgeous. I know our alumni house on campus. A lot of the buildings on campus are old plantation portions of homes, that's still left that they refurbished. The alumni house that we have is 2 or 3 stories, and it's been completely refurbished like how it would have looked in the day, with the floors and all the scroll work and it's just breathtakingly beautiful. I love to go over there for events because it's
That's
just to
when
walk around.
craftsmanship was something, you know.
I mean, I would love to have a house like that and be able to restore it, but it takes a lot of money to restore them and make them safe for today's world. You know,
Yeah, and you probably would have to have some people come in and cleanse them for you too.
oh, that too. Yeah,
Yeah.
without a doubt. You don't want to do anything down here without doing that first.
Oh, she said she got some pictures, and I got some weird pictures and got a strange vibe. She says I loved
There
it
you
there.
go.
So I'm just shuffling. I'm just going to ask if that school teacher who died on the 17th step was a true story. I'm just curious to see if that myth is.
Yeah, he was one of the owners. And evidently he taught Sunday school from what the article said at his house. So
I wonder why that guy came and just decided to shoot him. There had to have been some sort of history between the two.
you would think,
Um,
yeah, something, but whatever it was, nobody knows. Nobody knows why the guy did it. I don't even know if they knew who the guy was that did it. It just
well, not much has really changed, has it? People just shooting people for no reason at all.
okay.
It's
Well,
just
I
still the
pulled
way.
the Four of Pentacles. Um, a power struggle right there.
There we go.
This guy shows up and then just shoots him in the gut, probably. And back then, a gut shot, that was a death sentence. There was no
Mm-hmm.
coming back from that. Um, and then from there, jumped over to the swords. And he went and killed the king of swords there. The authoritarian, somebody with a commanding presence, someone who was teaching Sunday school, for God's sake. So he had to have been a fairly prominent person in the community just to be able to do that in and of itself. And then from there I got the I want to make sure I'm looking at it right.
Oh, today's Sharon Sipe's son's birthday.
Oh, well,
Happy
happy birthday to your
son.
son. That's fantastic. We had a lot of Geminis in this community.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one I got was the Seven of Swords. Deceit. Stealing what is not yours. What did that man steal? He stole his life.
Yeah.
He stole the king's life, the man with the presence. I mean, so you're looking at.
It had something to do with I think finances, because that was my last card. I got the Eight of Wands reversed. It was aimless. It was uncontrollably flat. Yeah, uncontrollably fast. It was just a swift action. The guy had no idea. I got that self-limited thoughts and speech. So there was something that the guy who shot him was in this victim mentality mode.
Give me 5 minutes real quick. I need to do something for my son.
Okay.
Hang on. I'll be right.
All right. And then I'll just throw up, I'm sure she can hear, I'll throw up the last card. And the Seven of Pentacles. Just too much time, effort, investment, anxiety, planning. So something fell through money-wise. And of course, it always has to do with money, doesn't it? So, just gonna sit back here for a sec. Take a sip, say hello to everybody. So, Amy, I can go anywhere and see things and feel things. It's an everyday. Oh, I don't think I could handle that. No. Not after the house that I lived in. And it was haunted. And it was a nasty entity that lived there. And it showed itself physically as a black mass to my sister. And for me, it came after me at night by grabbing the back of my neck. The back of my neck, the side of it, my feet, everything. And I think after that started happening, I shut down because up to that point I had seen the spirit of my aunt who passed away from cancer. 2 weeks after she passed, she came to me. But after those experiences with the negative entity, anytime it feels like there was a spirit around, my heart would race, I would shut down, and spirit just could not show itself to me anymore. So I can't imagine what having that.
Okay, I'm back.
Having that.
Sorry,
Kind of
he and my
gift.
brother have both been sick as dogs all week long. Actually, my brother tested positive for COVID.
Oh no.
And so he's been sick in bed for like 3 days. And then yesterday my son started getting sick, but he tested negative. So because I had some of the rapid tests at home, and I tested negative. I'm starting to feel a little like iffy, by this afternoon. I was like, God, please, I don't want to have to come down with this crap. So
plenty of rest, water. Yeah, Shan was sick all last weekend, and he's just starting to eat now. We ordered subs from a supermarket up here called Wegmans, and we've never had a bad sub or anything from them, their deli meats or whatever. And I got him a turkey and bacon sub, and something ended up not being right because he got really sick for the whole weekend. And just today, he was actually starting to actually eat an actual meal.
There is nothing like getting food poisoning. Oh, that's horrible.
I almost died from it once in Arizona.
Lose a lot of weight. Yeah, you do lose a lot of. My brother says, but you lose a lot of weight. Yeah, but that's a really raunchy way to have to do it. I got food poisoning once. I was throwing up blood for hours.
Oh my God, Shari.
And my mother rushed me to the emergency room, and I was like 14, 15 at the time. And to this day, I still cannot eat like the meat biscuits that you can get at fast food places. It was at a Hardee's. We stopped, and it was like a chopped beef biscuit with chopped beef in it, and the biscuit.
Yeah.
And the meat was bad, and it gave me. I got food poisoning off of it. And to this day, I cannot even look. I don't care what branch it is. What it is. I can't even look at it. It makes it just like nope.
Yeah, after I got home from the hospital, I actually had the CDC call me and ask, where did you eat? Did you eat here? Did you eat there? We're trying to figure out where. And I said, why? Has there been more food poisoning? And they said, yes. And I go, well, where do you think it came? And they never called me back, or they wouldn't comment. So I never found out where I got it from, but I wasn't the only one at that time. I mean, I have the CDC and the health thing call you for it. I was like,
what was our question?
Just the reasoning behind,
the man
why.
Shooting.
And my last card was Pentacles, upside down. So it had to do with money. It said there was like poor planning, financial anxiety. So it had something to do with money. I'm just going to ask again, directly if it was finance. Well, if this teacher actually swindled this man out of money. I mean, we've seen school teachers do worse things than, swindle people out of money, So I'm just kind of curious to see. That's different. Okay. Immaturity. Paying the consequences. Oh. Anxiety, ruminating. Wow. Mentally haunted. Okay, this teacher did something that really tormented this man.
Yeah, he was
I got the Justice card.
not a happy camper, to say the least.
Yeah, Nine of Swords. I mean, I got Page of Cups reversed, the Justice card. The Nine of Swords.
I got the Two of Wands, the a goblin,
Mm.
and a rival. What happened? And a rival brought that man out on the porch. And then from there, I got the Knight of Pentacles. It says, "Act with caution." He didn't. He didn't listen to that, now did he? He went
Nope.
barreling right out that door. Yeah, what you want? And then I got the Eight of Wands, which is brace for change, take some action. This other guy was braced. He was ready for it. The minute he walked out the door, boom,
Yeah.
he took him
Wow.
out.
I shuffled again. King of Wands, King of Pentacles, Queen of Cups, and then the Two of Cups. So there was some sort of, wow, they absolutely knew each other. There was a relationship. Ambitious, driven, material success, financial advice. Oh, yeah, there's the finances again. Queen of Cups.
Hey, Aiden. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, I Aiden. Oh, he was on live.
He
with
was
me.
so funny on the sing thing yesterday.
Oh, he
Did
was
you watch
funny.
the sing along with Lisa?
No, I have to play
Aiden
back
was
it.
one of the guests. That he was on Lisa's team.
Mm-hmm.
And then Scott Allen was on Sonia's team. And it was hilarious because I don't remember what song. Aiden, you'll have to remind us what song it was.
Fractals.
It was some song, and he just starts
Yep.
singing this thing, and it's like,
Yeah.
he sold it. And it wasn't until after it was over into the next round, he was like, yeah, that was fake. I made it up.
Aiden, I didn't hear about that last night.
And that's
He
how
went
the game
live with
goes.
us.
You know, that's part of the rules. You can make something up. And you can, if you sell it and everybody buys it, then
Oh, really?
you
That's
got
a
away
rule?
with a fake song.
Oh.
But the other team, if they think that you're pulling one over on them, they can challenge you on it. Now, if they're right, then they get the point, you don't. If they're wrong, then you get an extra point. And Aiden sold it. I mean, he had half of the chat was believing him on the song, saying, yeah, I think I've heard that song
Sonia
before.
went on live last night on Instagram, and him and I and friend Lisa were on. And he just goes, "Hey, you want to see my wig?" And he just opens this drawer and just pulls out this thing that looks, and it goes like this. It looks like he just pulled roadkill off the street, put it on his head, and then started pretending that he was like a 80s heavy metal rocker. I mean, it was hysterical. I'm like, kid, you really should be in, the movies. But
yeah, Mama Bear was like, he had Lisa laughing so hard on After Hours. I love it when I can click into the After Hours with him, but a lot of times it's on a work night and I have to go to bed. I can't sit up with y'all. So,
but it was hysterical. And then Sonia went and grabbed out all her, her wigs, and she was putting them on. And I was just like, Lisa went and grabbed one. I'm like, I don't have any wigs.
I don't either.
I felt left out. But
my mother wore wigs. My mom had a hair deficiency. It was like a genealogical trait. Her hair was, it was like baby hair, like newborn baby hair. That's how fine it was, and would break off. It would grow maybe a couple of inches, and then it would just break off. And it had always been like that. And when she was younger, she wore wigs, and so there were always 3 or 4 wigs lining the dresser top. Because she would have to, because back then most wigs were made with real hair. And so you had to wash them and dry them and roll them and set them and, whatever you wanted it to look like. And
at this point in my life, I figured just go super short and just buy fun wigs. If I want my hair to be red one day, I'll just get something that's got red. One day I want purple, I'll get, you know what I mean? I
worked with a girl in Phoenix. She didn't work in my department. She worked in accounting, but we would run into each other all the time. And sit and share lunch or just sit and, shoot the shit with each other. And she would always have, I mean, it was like you never knew day to day what kind of hairstyle. It was always the same color hair, but it would be like from curly to straight as a board to, in different lengths. And one day I was like, how do you get your hair to do that? And she's like, I have wigs. And I'm like, you wear wigs in Phoenix? She's like, well, I don't have any hair because she had, I think it was type 1 diabetes. And a lot of the medication she took caused her hair to fall out. And so she didn't have any of her
Oh,
natural hair. And so
yeah.
she wore wigs. And she decided if I'm going to wear wigs, then I'm going to go all out and get me the good ones and all the different styles I like. And, it was just fun to see day to day what she was going to show up in next.
I have
But I
friends
used to feel
back
for her in the
here
summer.
who had to go through chemo, and so she had her hair shaved early, and she grabbed a couple of wigs. But let me tell you, her without anything, just that bald head, she was stunning, just stunningly beautiful. Her eyes, her makeup, I mean,
That's
just gorgeous. My friend
that's
Corey.
like that I think she's a representative. Um Presley, Ayanna Presley or something. She had those beautiful braids, a beautiful, beautiful dark, thick black hair, that a lot of African American women have. And
Mm-hmm.
she got that alopecia and her hair started falling
Alopecia.
out.
Oh man.
Alopecia, however you say it. And
Yeah, alopecia.
they shave. She decided just go ahead
That's
and
the
just shave
reason
her
why
head.
Will
And
Smith
I tell you, she's
whatchamacallit
more
passed away.
beautiful without her hair than she was with her hair, in my opinion, because you notice her face now and her
Mm-hmm.
eyes, and she is just stunningly gorgeous. I mean, just a beautiful woman.
Hi, Hilda. I see you're
Hi,
lurking.
Hilda.
Hello, hello. And then we had Tracy Rao popped in. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Tracy.
So I'm trying to think of
This is awesome,
anything else
man.
that we
Everybody's
can.
showing up.
I know.
Well, I know in chat all week, every time I was in a live chat, if I had a minute to chat, I'd be saying, hey, Wednesday night, I'm going to be on Heather's channel.
Ah.
We're going to do a thing on hauntings. It's
And if anybody
invariably
has
two or
a
three
place
people.
that they live nearby or are really like always like really into a certain, it doesn't have to be an urban legend. For me, I think I might change it and just call it like, legends, paranormal kind of,
Myths and
um,
legends.
and myths, legends, mysteries. If there's one that you live in an area where you have one that you would love to read on, yeah, come and join me.
Oh, yeah.
Or if it's just an idea, throw it up there, and 'cause it's much more fun to read cards with somebody. You know,
Oh, yeah, without a
um,
doubt. I think that's why I haven't done that any really live streams myself, is because what am I going to talk about? I mean, I can talk
yeah,
a lot, and sometimes, yeah, it's hard to get me to shut up, but it's kind of hard to do it when there's nobody else talking back to you.
yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, you've got the chat, but that's a delayed reaction kind of conversation.
Now, one of the other claims I was reading said that there were at least 10 murders that were committed on the plantation grounds. So I'm just going to go ahead and shuffle and then use my pendulum and see if if there were 10, because
Yeah,
that's one of the claims.
everything I've read, yeah, is that they've never been able to prove any additional murders except for the guy that died on the stairs. That's the only one they've ever been able to prove. But that doesn't mean, because during the Civil War, the Union soldiers uh, ransacked the place, and
Yeah.
there's rumors that there were several of the Union soldiers killed there, by the
Hmm.
people that lived there trying to protect their stuff. I mean,
Yeah, I think it's right. I mean, the cards I'm getting is the Nine of Wands, battle weary. So you already have the battle. You got the guy with his, he's already seen battle. He's got his wounds, and then you have the Page of Pentacles. People come in and work, home, health. So people are coming after, like you said, after the war, trying to still ransack and grab whatever was left. And the Chariot ambition and driven and focused. So they were still people fighting to be in control of that plantation in that area and trying to take back, regain control, or at least loot, as much as possible.
Well, I started out with the Ten of Wands, which
Oh
is,
boy.
a
Yeah.
focused determination,
Hmm.
uh, releasing something, turning loose of something, um, being being very determined in something, you know. And then I pulled the Eight of Wands again. I've been sitting here shuffling this whole time, and
Hmm.
here it comes. So, I mean, again, you've got taking action, bracing for change. So,
Yeah.
and then I got the Eight of, there we go, the Eight of Pentacles,
Hmm.
which is
The
on here it
finances.
says perfecting your craft, to put in the effort, the discipline, and the skill it takes to achieve something. So,
Oh yeah, there's lots, and I'm. It's weird. I was trying to. Well, what else could I ask? And then I thought, well, it jumped right in my head. Why don't you talk to the young woman? What does she have to say about? Because I was thinking about, well, why is she still there? Why can't she? And it was like, well, what I got in there? Why don't you ask her? So I'm just going to shuffle and see um, why the young woman. She understands why she's called Chloe, even though that's not her name, and just kind of reach out to her and ask her why does she still um, hang around there. I mean, automatically I heard
does
to
she have a
protect.
choice?
Yeah,
Maybe she's stuck there for a reason. Maybe there's something she has to do
to fix that karma.
to amend that action. There's some kind of karmic. Um,
Because obviously the kids are still there too. So maybe she feels in spirit if the kids are there, that she needs to be there to look after them for what she did.
yeah, because the mother's not there. I've never heard anybody talk about seeing the
Not the
woman.
woman. Nope.
Just the slave girl and the kids. And yeah, that very well. That's a good point you made. That very well could be because she feels responsible, so she's staying there to protect them, I guess, take care of them until they can cross.
It's too bad that they.
And
I
kids
mean,
know
I
how
don't
to
know if
cross
anyone's ever
because they
gone there
know.
to help them cross. You know,
Huh?
I wonder if people have even gone there to try to help them to cross, especially the children. Why, and unfortunately, I know for a lot of places like that, it has to do with, you know, to make money. People want to come to a spend good money to come to a haunted house. And if they were to have the spirits moved on, then that would be less of an attraction, So um, it's unfortunate because I know from watching more than one show and talking to other mediums that I've met over the years, that is one of the reasons why a lot of these places, a lot of the spirits are still. Some choose to be there, yes, you know, but actually having someone go in to help them, to be able to cross over, especially children, um, and it tends to a lot of times it can be greed
Yeah.
because they want to keep that tourism, that money coming in. It's their cash cow.
All right. I pulled the magician, which
Mm,
is, harnessing nature's power, channeling your will, focusing on a single outcome. That sounds like Chloe. She's
mm-hmm,
there. She has a single will of what it is that she's responsible for.
yeah.
And then I drew the sun, which is joy, success, renewal, youthfulness. So perhaps when she's done the limit of her punishment, I guess, almost that she's putting herself through, she'll be
Mm,
able to rejoice in the sun again. And then, of course, I got the Ten of Cups, which is
Mm,
a fairy girl, watches over sprites on a lily pad. So there you go. You've got Chloe watching over those children,
yeah.
keeping them safe so that they have a happy ending, um, an emotional completion for her.
Hmm.
She can become emotionally complete now.
I got Ten of Pentacles, family, you know,
There you go.
inheritance, built, legacy. So she's there because of the family. And then I got the Judgment card upside down. And the first thing that said on there was spiritually stuck. Guilt and shame is also on that card. So
Yeah,
she's, there to watch over. Yeah,
she's not gonna cross until she feels like she's done her penance.
yeah.
And I don't
Yeah,
think
the
she'll ever
swords.
cross until the children do.
Yeah.
I think once the children cross, then she'll feel that she's fulfilled her purpose.
And that's the Queen of Swords. She said on what she feels she needs to do. Well, that's too sad. Yeah, because I live near a place that is a popular location in Genesee County for ghost hunters, investigators, and whatnot. And I actually met the woman who owns the place, and she had her stuff out, her brochures, and when book your next tour, ghost hunt tour and stuff and whatnot. And I just went up and I said, has anybody ever tried going in there and moving on, some of these spirits? And she looked at me, and I kid you not, she said no. And this is what she said, and I quote, "Nobody messes with my spirits, her spirits." And I stood
Says
back
who?
and I looked at her, and I'm like, "Don't go there." And I just went and I walked away. And from there on, it has really nothing to do for me. And then I approached somebody else later, and they said, "Well, maybe she's
We have
just
several
protective."
ghost hunting groups here in the area that do tours and stuff on several of the haunted. Because there's a lot of haunted locations around here as well. I mean,
Hmm.
it's all up and down the Gulf Coast. And a lot of it, like we were talking about earlier, a lot of it is residual left over from people that get
Hmm.
killed off of the storms and storm surge, and especially
And then
back in the day before they had
I
radar,
brought
they
that
didn't
up.
know what was coming.
Yeah, and I brought that up to somebody else, and they were like, "Well, I know her, and there's some spirits that probably don't want to leave, and she's got a good heart." And but yet, when I asked her, just I wasn't like aggressive or anything. I just asked her, has anyone been there when they do the ghost walks? Do they try to help move on, the spirits there? And she was just like absolute, just from being friendly, going, "Hello, hey, welcoming to her table." And her just saying, "No, no one messes with my spirits. I don't know, mess," but she referred to them as, yeah, my spirits. And I'm just kind of like, "Whoa, lady." And I was just like, okay, I am not going to endorse your,
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
I
we got a
guess I could
question
see
here.
it from a. Oh, that's a good question, Joe. Yeah, because like I said, these people were animals to them. They weren't people, so it was nothing to sell out their kids. Send it to the next person down the road, or to trade off slaves with someone you owed money to.
Joe, what do you mean if they were with her? Do you mean in life or in spirit where she is right now? I'm assuming it's if her parents are there in spirit.
Yeah, it was kind of rare for families to stay together
Mm-hmm.
over the years because most plantation
Instability.
owners would sell off the kids or sell off the wife or sell off the husband or whatever. Because as
Mm-hmm.
long as they had no family cohesion, within their own ranks, they didn't get territorial. I mean, you're going to react to somebody beating your child a whole lot differently if that's the child you gave birth to, as opposed to just some kid that got brought there because he got bought. You know, um, and I realize we're talking about this in a really callous kind of way because it's hard not to because that's just the way it
The way
was. But it's
things
not an
were,
excuse,
at that time.
not an excuse for it, and it was horrific. And a lot of Southerners are truly mortified and horrified by our history. I mean, we love the South for different reasons than that. You know, um, there's a way of the people down here, good people that is enjoyable to be around. The cultures, the food, the location, there's a lot of really wonderful, beautiful things about the South,
Yeah.
all up and down in the South, and it's all different from
Mm-hmm.
sometimes within its own state. It's different from area to area, but definitely from one state to another. I mean, what's
I'm getting
difficult
like
is
really.
you have families that have been in power for generations
Mm-hmm.
that are still in power. It's almost like a given. Well, if Grandpappy was a judge that ran this town, then son becomes a lawyer and a judge most likely, and grandson becomes or granddaughter becomes a lawyer and then a judge. It's the same in the political world down here. It
Mm-hmm.
tends to
Yeah,
run
New
to
York is a predominantly blue state, but where I live, oh my God, there's still Trump um, stands, selling his merchandise, saying he's running in 2024, and they have all these "Let's Go Brandon" flags. People drive up and down the roads with, and I don't kid you, I've seen this in Buffalo with these big black flags off their trucks, and there's two of them on this one truck that says "Fuck Biden" on it, and it's so red here in Western New York. It's ridiculous, and
yeah,
it's just so hard for me to wrap my mind around. The hatred and the Confederate flags that some of them are still flying along with their Trump flags and whatnot, and it
yeah.
just you know
I mean, down here, I guess we're kind of used to it, but there are a lot more progressive liberals in the South than the rest of the world realizes. It's just we've been marginalized and hushed for
yeah.
so long, that um, quite literally. Did you ever see the movie The Blind Side with Sandra Bullock?
No,
Okay. There's a scene
I
in this
know.
movie.
Okay.
Okay. There's a scene in this movie when she hires a tutor for this boy that they take into their home and into their family. And and it's an older retired teacher, and as they're talking and wrapping up, okay, yeah, I think you're going to do, we're going to most likely we're going to be hiring you. And the woman and the character is played by Kathy Bates, who is just the one of the
She's
most
phenomenal.
phenomenal actresses we have.
Hmm.
But it's this attitude, and the minute I saw it in the movie the first time, I thought, "Oh God, that's 80% of us down here." Was this, well, before you hire me, I think there's something you should know about me, and of course, Sandra Bullock's character gets this look on her face like, oh my God, what? She's an axe murderer. What's the deal? And she's like, I'm a Democrat. Literally behind her hand, like it's a secret, don't tell. And that's how it's been down here for decades and decades and decades. I mean, if you are public about being a Democrat, you're a very conservative Democrat. I mean, we have a Democratic governor who is one step away from being a Republican governor. Um, but he does try hard to accommodate both sides of the coin of it. So I got to give him effort on that. But for a lot of progressive people, it was this, I'm a Democrat. Like, don't hold it against me. And it's like until we can get past that down here, I think a lot of the rest of it is never going to change until we can get past that fear of what we believe in, or the admittance of admitting that, because you had the conservatives that romp and stomp and run around and in your face and, yeah, I'm a Trumper. What you going to make about it? That kind of thing. Exactly, Hilda. You know what I'm talking about. And a lot of it is because they don't want to lose their job. They don't want to get kicked out of the family. They don't want to be looked at funny in church. And it's like, you know what?
So, Joan, with your question asking if she was orphan, I kept getting weird cards. I've been shuffling and shuffling over, and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I've been while we've been talking. That's been in my
and it's
mind.
just weird. And I just said, okay, I'm just going to shuffle one more time. And the card that I got, and the word that just jumped out to me from it was, just do it. It was just something that they had to do. Hard work, just do it. Sticking to the plan. There, they had to give her up. There was just, you had a child, someone walked by, saw them, wanted them, they pay for them, and then you were dragged from your family. Then I got the Four Swords, taking a break, recharging, mental preparation, recovery period. So it was difficult for them. It wasn't an easy decision that they had. I mean, they really didn't have a decision. There was no choice. Um, and the last card I got was the Fool, and what jumped at me was fresh start. So I think possibly too for her parents. Her parents may have even been have been given money to hand her over to this owner, and then that way too, she might have been thinking that she would have had a better life. Being the lighter skinned young woman, child, and being brought into the house. So a lot of that was just, I'm just getting families were just torn apart. I've seen movies, documentaries, and things that, this has happened. So it wasn't that, I doubt that they wanted to give up their child. I mean, I can't imagine.
The devil.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Followed by the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Followed by the Five of Cups.
Jeez.
Which talks about hopelessness. So we're talking about people that dealt with death on a daily basis. I mean, even the rich white people dealt with that because there were diseases and accidents and things that happened they had no control over. But it was learning to live in the shadows with that moon, of learning to live with the fact that your child or your spouse or whoever could be yanked away from you and sold off down the river. You had to learn to embrace that shadow, which led people to living in a very depressed state of mind. So now it's a self feeding. It's a cycle that just feeds itself is what I'm trying to get across. It's just
yeah.
The self-fulfilling prophecy. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Couldn't come up with it. And and whether she was an actual orphan or not,
Hmm.
I think that was very much the fact that she was dealing with the devil, who was the plantation master. She had to hide who she really was in the shadows in the moon because she couldn't be herself. She was just property to somebody else. And who's to say maybe she loved the man? I mean, that's not uncommon either for, that kind of thing to happen. And through it all, it's just the depression of I'll never be the madam of the manor, the mistress of the manor. I'll never be the boss lady, the one in fine silks and drinking champagne and, you know, having every need met.
When Joan said, I don't know if it was you or Joan that said maybe she loved him.
I said
He
that,
was,
yeah.
that flipped out when I was shuffling. When I thought to ask
Oh,
that.
wow. Heartbreak,
They
yeah.
were known to be cruel. One of the documentaries I had seen is that they would be working, doing their job, and then they would come in and just grab them, throw them on the bed, and rape them. They
Oh,
had no
yeah.
choice. So
Like I said,
it was
whether
cruel.
it was the master of the house just looking to have his needs met, because women of quality, they weren't taught the ways of pleasure for themselves. Many of them looked at sex as a marital duty that had to be performed, and it was do it, be done with it, and move on. Here's your
Hmm.
heir. They didn't, because they weren't taught any better. They didn't know any better. And so, for a lot of these, whether if it was the master's sons, his buddies, whatever,
Yeah.
they would take their pleasure out on someone that they didn't even consider to be human in a way. They're
Human.
just someone there to meet their needs. There was no love lost there. There was no emotional attachment or anything like that.
Well, all we can do is send love and light, to Chloe. She said, I got the feeling that it was okay to call her that. Because because over all these years, that's the name that was given. That was the name that, she responds to. It's okay. Just to send, her love and light, the kids love and light, and knowing that they can move on. I just really wish somebody would go in there and try to, do an intervention and help open, these portals. There was actually a show that was on in Canada. It's been canceled now. It was on for like 3 years, but these two women would go to locations in Canada, and they would actually work together to find out who and why they were there, who the people or the spirits were, why they were there, and they would most of the time be very successful in opening up between the both of them a portal of light for them to move through and to ascend,
Yep.
onto the other side. You know, and no one can help these three lost souls. Um, I hope they find peace. I really do. That someone's able to go in there and say, "Kids, come on, you gotta go. Miss Chloe will follow you, or Miss Chloe will walk
Joan
with you
brings up
across."
a Yeah, Joan
It was
brings up a
Joan.
good point, emphasizing what you're saying. If she had Stockholm syndrome, and yeah, a lot of them did, and they wanted to be considered a part of the family.
Hmm.
They wanted to be thought of. They wanted to be the missus.
It was either that, you know, being the house slave and in or being out in the fields, and that was a lot worse for some of these women. Were a
Oh
lot worse, and
God, yeah.
so
Well, the men too. I mean, there were men that were house slaves. Your butlers and your your Smithies and your,
Yeah.
those that took care of the heavy duty stuff. It's,
That jumped out, juggling, trying to, make their masters happy, the family happy, and to be able to keep, staying in the house. I mean, it was a juggle, not just, financially, but it says responsibilities. So, yeah,
and we're still doing the same thing to this day.
yeah,
Instead of it being on a
in different and
plantation,
insidious ways.
now it's let's pass out as many guns as we can and let everybody just kill each other off. I mean, Hilda mentioned, the way Texas is going, that it's all of these punishments on the women, all of these things
That state's
against
going to
women.
implode.
Not one bill has been introduced. What about the men? What is their punishment?
Hmm.
It's hard enough to get rape charges to stick.
The last word on here for suggestion is what's next, and I don't like that card when it says what's next. I'm you just mentally don't want to go there because you already know what could be coming next, and it's just, yeah, we should not still be at this place in time in our quote unquote evolution. There's more slavery today on this planet. Yeah, but the slavery is in many different ways, with the gerrymandering, with oh, um, oh,
Are you
why I
sick
can't think
and you
of the
can't afford
word.
to go to the doctor? Are you sick and you can't afford to buy medications?
There, yeah,
That's a form of slavery.
yeah,
Um, because you're not free. You can't enjoy your life
yeah.
if
You
you have a
basically work
mouthful of
until you
rotting teeth and
work
you
yourself into the
you
death.
can't
Yeah.
go to a dentist to get it fixed,
Hmm.
or replaced, or I mean, or you
And to
without a
food.
home and you're literally living in the street under a
Yeah,
rock or under a tree somewhere. That's not freedom. That's just misery.
it's all around.
Anyway, I pulled for the end here. I pulled justice again. That they're going to see justice.
Yes, Jill, and the trafficking.
But then I got balance, receiving balance, learning to balance one another. The Six of Pentacles, um, receiving and exchanging gifts back and forth. And then I got the Ace of Pentacles, which again is being offered that opportunity. And how many people who are
Ace of Pentacles.
financially strapped,
Yeah.
physically or emotionally strapped, mentally or spiritually strapped, they don't have the freedom to make their own choice and take care of things.
Welfare, that was the word I was looking for. You know, with welfare, they don't want to pay people the proper wages. They don't want to take care of people. They end up having to go on the welfare, and then they turn other people against those people, thinking, I mean, yes, there are people who take advantage of the system. I've seen it because I've been on
You're
Medicaid,
always
I've been
going to
on
have
SNAP and
somebody trying
everything,
to rob the system.
and it's but
You're never
still,
going to get away from that.
and it wouldn't be like that if everybody had gotten they if they were given the proper pay raise, they were given the proper
Yeah. If
medical,
people made a
they were
living
given
wage,
yes.
if we had universal health care where when you started feeling sick, you could pick up the phone, call your doctor, go down, get checked, get a prescription filled, anything along those lines, where your job's not going to be dependent on what kind of health benefits are they going to give you. That frees you up to do what you really want to do,
Yeah.
not stuck somewhere that you hate because they have
Hmm.
benefits and what
Yeah.
you want to do doesn't.
Ace of Pentacles, Six of Wands,
Yeah.
victory, success to be able to do, and then the Eight of Pentacles, working towards something that you enjoy doing that will bring you, financial stability and security, and they don't want to give that to people because as long as they keep people divided and separated and hate mongering between them, we're easier to control. It's just the bottom line.
Well, look at
It's control and power.
um Andrea, Lilac Lantern, Sheila, Celtic Tarot, um, several others who have worked and worked and worked and gotten themselves to the point where they could walk away from their job and do this full time because this is what they love, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And
I wish
not
I could do
everybody will
that.
be able to do that. Um, but then again, who knows? We don't know what tomorrow's going to bring.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that if they took away the burden of health care from people and employers, if they took away the burden of, getting proper dental care, getting your medications, all that kind of thing,
Yeah.
um, it would change our country alone in ways that we can't
Dramatically.
imagine. I mean,
Absolutely.
you go somewhere like Sweden or Norway, yeah, they pay higher taxes, but look at what they get in return for it.
Mm-hmm.
If they get sick, they just go to the doctor. They don't think about it. If they need medicine, they just go to the pharmacy. They don't have to think about it. You know. So yeah, it's.
Well, Sherry, it's 10 o'clock. We've been on for two
Oh
hours.
goodness, we
Would
have.
you do you want to shuffle? Do you want to send everybody off with a card?
Yeah.
A
Let me
nice
let
little.
me pull a.
Make sure sending out prayers to Chloe
I
and
will
to the children
pull.
of Plantation, and
I will pull an oracle for everybody.
wish them their souls to be at peace and to rest. And
Yes, I want to do an oracle for that.
just to send off a card for everybody, just to have a good feeling, because we need to have balance.
Yes. Yeah, we don't want to. We don't want to end on a low note.
Mm.
We want to end on a high note.
So, beautiful message for the collective. Let's say, what was the name wait a minute, what, Hilda? What was the name? Oh, you mean Chloe? The girl in the picture, that the slave girl. I felt she resonates with the name Chloe because that's how people, that's what people call her. So that gives her at least um, not necessarily a legacy, but gives her an identity. So she's just not some slave girl. Chloe was her name that they've given her. So it's nice that she has a name that people can refer her to, and not just as, oh, that slave girl. It gives her an identity. Oh, hey, Hugger. Thank you for
Okay.
joining. We're wrapping up, but we're doing Sherry and I are doing a final card
Well, I pulled three.
for the collective.
First one I pulled was the waning moon. What do you need to release?
Oh my goodness.
We just went through that.
Mm-hmm.
Then the third quarter moon. Adjustments are required. We have to constantly make adjustments for what's happening in our life. And then the full moon in Aries. A fiery climax approaches. So you're going to go through all of your other stuff here. Ah, there it is.
You're like me. The tarot card shuffle.
There we go. That's what I wanted, was this last one. So it's it's gonna end on a good note.
Yeah. I got
We've got
Call of
good
the
things coming.
Muse. Oh,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
exactly. That's exactly what I'm getting, Sherry. Call of the Muse. Do
There you
what
go.
makes your soul sing, what makes your heart dance, what makes you, you know, wake up and just want to celebrate the day. The next card, Perfect Harmony. When you find that, pursue it. Connect with what it is that you love, and just when you bring all those elements into alignment, you become harmonious within yourself, and you can achieve that with a powerful move. You know what the key is, you know what moves that needs to be taken, and it can be done. So
I
listen
was
to that
trying to put
muse,
them.
listen to that call, and have faith in that perfect harmony, perfect love,
Yeah.
and perfect trust, and you make that move.
And as I was trying to put my cards up, this one flew out. Have faith in your
Faith in your
dreams.
dreams. Oh, there you go. Perfect. Awesome.
And that was just for me trying to put them back in the box. And that one
You're like,
literally
no,
jumped
no, we
out.
have
I was
something
like,
else to say.
okay, I guess I
That
didn't
is
pull it
awesome.
fast enough.
Hmm. Okay,
Well, this has been
Sherry.
fun, Heather. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
inviting me.
Oh, thank you for joining me on my first
Anytime,
venture
just give
here.
me a holler.
And thank you to everybody in chat. Thank
Yes,
you for supporting us. Look at 14 people. This is exciting. So, faith in our
that's
dreams.
great.
That's right, Hilda. I know nowadays it's hard. I know it's been hard for me for the last 3 or 4 days dealing with what happened in Texas to the new moon and what's currently going on in my life. I mean, it's just been sludge city. But I
Oh,
take these moments, like tonight, and that helps bring it. So
I
it's just
have
that
been
next move, next move. Yeah.
I have been dealing with one fire after another at work of
Mm,
just crap trying to deal with literally from last week as faculty was clearing out and heading out summer break. They don't hang around. And getting every time I blink, somebody was plopping something down on my desk that needs to be done right now. It's like,
mm,
okay, there's 10 other things sitting here that need to be done right now. It's going to the bottom of the list. Um, and a couple of orders that we made that got screwed up somewhere along the line that I had to stop what I was doing to try to backtrack and figure out what happened, how it got screwed up,
mm,
and how can we get the item that's needed for someone's research to get there on time. And um it's just been that kind of thing, just boom, 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 one after the other. All last
Sherry,
week and all the
earth
beginning of
magic,
this
ground
week.
yourself. There you go.
And I'm on the verge of saying to my boss, can I take Friday off, please? It's my birthday.
Yeah. But I love how, I pulled out a couple cards in that earth magic, and I'm like, there she goes.
Yep,
You're be grounded, connect with that energy of Mother Earth, breathe deep, and she's got you. You know,
that's it.
it's tough.
I know Autumn was reading on something the other day on Black and Orange on her channel. And she was just you could just feel the waves of frustration and anger coming off of her. And I
Mm-hmm.
was at work, so it's like I'm in chat, it's hopping on and off, depending on when I can look at it. And I just happened to come back into my office and sat down and hearing her saying, being crazy. And I just typed in, breathe, Autumn, just breathe. And she saw it. She said, okay, Sherry's right. I need to just breathe. I'm like, there you
Mm-hmm.
go.
Breathe and
You
ground.
got it.
Go hug a kitty.
So,
Unless they
yeah,
until they want to be hugged.
I don't have a kitty. I have two dogs, and
Oh,
they don't
and what do
cuddle
they
with
grow
me.
to?
So they'll come and
Oh,
get their
really?
treats, and they'll come let me pet them. And they definitely want me to walk them, but that's about as far as it goes. I miss having a cat. I
Yeah.
really miss having a cat. Not too
Well,
much longer.
everybody,
It's not going to be
thank
too
you.
much longer.
Jerry needs to
Thank you,
relax,
everyone, for
kick
coming.
back, have dinner, or evening snack, cup of coffee, tea, relax before going to sleep. So, thank you
That's
for
it.
joining
I'm going
me
to go
again.
smoke a cigarette and drink the rest of my soda and get ready for bed.
Sounds good.
5 a.m. gets here really early.
Oh yeah, I believe it. Alrighty,
Yeah.
everybody. Thank you again for joining us. Have a
Thank
blessed
y'all for coming
evening,
tonight.
and love you all. And mwah.
Mwah.
Bye.